When you hear the name Dracula, what comes to mind? Probably a vampire in a big cape, right? A creature from old horror stories and movies. And yeah, it's a great story. But the truth behind the legend is so much more disturbing. Because the man who inspired it all wasn't some creature of the night. He was a monster in broad daylight. So you have to ask, was this iconic villain just made up, something a writer cooked up to give us a good scare? Well, the answer is a hard no. The man who inspired the legend was very, very real. And the truth is, the real historical Dracula was a monster far more terrifying than any vampire could ever be. His story isn't about supernatural horror. It's about the very real horror that humans are capable of. Okay, so our story kicks off way back in the 15th century in Romania. This was a world of knights and empires at war. And this is where we find the origin of that famous name, Son of the Dragon. He was born in 1431, and his name was just Vlad. His dad was part of this special group of knights, a Christian society called the Order of the Dragon. Their whole job was to fight off the expanding Ottoman Empire. Well, young Vlad was so proud of what his dad did that he took on a new name for himself, Dracula, which literally means son of the dragon. But here's the thing, a guy like this isn't just born a monster, he's made into one. And for Vlad, the thing that forged him, that shaped him, happened in the fires of captivity. You see, in a really desperate political move, Vlad's father basically handed him and his little brother, Radu, over to the Ottoman Sultan as hostages. Can you imagine? And the two brothers reacted in completely opposite ways. Radu, he adapted. He even converted to Islam. But Vlad? His time as a hostage just filled him with this burning, all-consuming hatred. He spent years just secretly plotting how he'd get his revenge. So, after many years, Dracula was finally released. And when he eventually took power as the ruler of his homeland, he had everything he needed to unleash all that pent-up vengeance. And this is where his reign, truly written in blood, begins. One of the very first things he did as ruler tells you everything you need to know about him. Some Ottoman messengers came to his court and refused to take off their turbans, saying it was their religious custom. Dracula's response was, well, it was swift. He ordered his guards to nail the turbans right into their skulls, so they'd never have to take them off again. And that act of insane cruelty, that was just a warm-up. He quickly became known for his signature method of execution, impalement. This is how he earned his other nickname, Vlad the Impaler. It was a slow, unimaginably painful death, and it was designed to create maximum terror. Now, you'd think he'd save this kind of thing for his enemies, right? Nope, he terrorized his own people too. For instance, one day he saw a farmer wearing shabby clothes. He called over the man's wife, called her lazy, and had her impaled. Then he forced the poor, horrified farmer to marry another woman right then and there. For Dracula, inflicting pain, it was like a sport. When one of his mistresses tried to trick him by saying she was pregnant, he didn't just punish her. He supposedly sliced her open from top to bottom and just stood there, watching her die. See, the key thing to understand is that he was actively looking for excuses to be a monster. There's a story about a merchant in his city who had 160 gold coins stolen. Dracula found the thief and got the money back, but he secretly added one extra coin to the bag before returning it. So when the merchant counted the money, he was honest. He immediately reported the extra coin. And Dracula apparently burst out laughing. He told the man that if he had kept quiet about that one extra coin, he would have been impaled right next to the thief. It was all a twisted little test. He didn't just kill people, he savored every second of it. He would apparently set up dinner in a courtyard, surrounded by his impaled victims. And while he ate, he was heard saying things like, "How beautiful the blood flowing from their bodies looks." And believe me, impalement was just the beginning. The list of his atrocities is just stomach-churning. Boiling people alive, skinning them, dismemberment. He even forced people to eat their own family members. And yes, there are reports that he drank his victims' blood, which adds a really grim layer of truth to the whole vampire myth that came later. A reign of terror that brutal, well, it can't last forever. Eventually, Dracula's enemies started closing in on him, led by someone he knew very, very well. His end was every bit as violent as his life had been. The Ottoman forces, helped by none other than his own brother, Radu, finally trapped him. He was captured and he was beheaded. And in a moment of pure brutal irony, his own signature move was used against him. His head was impaled on a stake and put on display for everyone to see. But death wasn't really the end of Dracula's story. In fact, you could say it was just the beginning of his journey from being a historical monster to becoming an immortal legend of horror. And this is where history takes one last, really chilling turn. Just a few days after he was buried, his headless body reportedly vanished from its grave. Gone. And to this day, nobody really knows how or why. That final mystery just completely blurs the line between fact and fiction, and it leaves us with one haunting question. Did the man who actually drank blood in his life somehow find a way to return from death?